Well, hello everybody. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here, and once again, it's a Wednesday, and this is Ask Dave Fennoy Anything, and this is the Wednesday before Christmas. So I'm in my Christmas hat. It's a black one here. Well, rather fetching, I'd say. Goes with my shirt, and oh yeah, the element of surprise. Hope you like. How is your world? Mine is pretty good. Looking forward to the holidays and enjoying with friends and family. And did I actually go live? Is anybody there? Not seeing anybody show up, so it makes me wonder what is going on. Okay. Sync is paused. Okay. I don't know what that. Okay. That's very odd. My computer is acting a little strange and nobody has shown up yet. Is anybody there? Can anybody hear me? I wonder why that is. Let's check a couple other things. Okay. Okay, I'm going to end that for just a minute. And we're going to do it again. And we're going on FaceTime, and we're going with the mic. Share on my timeline. Oh, there we go. Okay, had a little technical difficulty there, so I'm in 2 minutes late. If you're wondering, well, here I am. Ask Dave Fennoy Anything on the Wednesday before Christmas. Will not be here next week. Next week will be the day after Christmas. I'll be recovering, so we'll see you after this in the new year. And there we go. Yeah, for some reason I didn't have it set up well. Ryan Everly joined. How are you? While you're getting your questions together, and let me check and see if there are any last-minute questions before I came on. And the only reason I say that is because I was so busy. Nope. Nobody had any written questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that have happened to me. Hey, Ryan, happened to me recently that have happened numerous times in my career and perhaps happened in your career that I want you to, be able to bounce back from. I have been on Avail for about 4 or 5 different things over the last 2 or 3 weeks that would have been really wonderful, really great. And the day before we're supposed to record, that Avail is released. And what that always means is they decided to go in another direction. Either not using me or maybe they had a couple of different ideas about what the campaign would be, and they decided to use a different campaign with a different person, or once again, that campaign, but with somebody else. It's going to happen. And you can't let yourself get too upset about it. I know sometimes what we're looking at is not only do we love doing this work, but it's our living. And geez, I thought I was going to have that job and that was going to be X amount of dollars and that was going to help me with this, that, or the other. And sometimes it's a little tough to shake that off. But you gotta, and you have to, because whatever's in your mind is going to show up in your read. And if in your mind that little voice is telling you that, well, gosh, maybe I'm not good enough, and gee, the last couple of things that I really thought I did well on, I didn't book, and I was on Avail, now I'm not. Is it something I said? Is it what could it possibly be? And and you don't know. Somebody calling me, and I can't talk to them right now. What could it possibly be? Well, it's probably not you. If you made it to the on avail part of this business, you did everything right. There was a decision between you and one or two or three or four other people, and somebody decided that somebody else's read fit what they were trying to do more than yours. It wasn't that your read wasn't good enough. Clearly it was, because you were on avail. They made another kind of decision. So if you're not booking, but you're getting on avail, you're doing the right thing. And sooner or later, those will come in. I've had it the other way, where everything I touch is turned to gold. Every avail I get on, I get. Or I've been told it's down to you and two or three other people, and I'm the one that wins it. So disabuse yourself of the notion that if you've missed a few gigs that you've been on avail for, that it means you're not going to get the job. You're gonna be fine. If you're getting on avail, you're going to work. But some of the kisses of death that for me, request, oh, Dave, you're a request. Or if I see my name on the bottom of the copy, a la Dave Fennoy, which has happened a few times, always gives me a little thrill. But then you audition and you don't get it? Come on. While I was the Hulu guy, I had a couple commercials come through and say, oh, we want somebody just like the Hulu guy. Came to me, I did the commercial and didn't book it. So it's a crazy business, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, but you keep pitching. Just like salesmen, you got to make a lot of calls. In our case, you got to make as many auditions, do as many auditions as you can, and something will come of it. Chris Michaels, VO, rate discussion and negotiation. Can you discuss your early experience with this topic and helpful hints? Not very used to selling myself. Not sure if I need to consult with the lady of the night or what. No, don't consult with the lady of the night. At leastwise, not about voiceover. Chris, early on in my career, I was in San Francisco. I was not in the union just yet. And mostly what I was looking for was experience. And I was in that position where, I would work for not very much money. One of the first jobs I had that was very visible, there was a station up there, still is, I think, TV 20. And I was doing some promos for them, and they were paying me a grand total of $25 an hour. Well, you can do a lot of promos in an hour, a bunch. So I was really selling myself short, but I was just getting into the business, and it was good for my resume. It was good for me to get the experience. I remember when I was a musician, you heard that thing, you wanted to play in a club, and they say, yeah, well, listen, we can't pay anything, but think of the exposure. Well, we're beyond that now. What I would do if I were a freelance voiceover actor now, I would look up what the union rates are, and I would base what I charge off of union rates. Ultimately, you're going to want to be in the union. The very best work comes from the union. If you're looking to do the high-end TV commercials, video games, cartoons, narrations for National Geographic, Discovery Channel, Science Channel, most of that work is going to fall into the realm of union work. And I know sometimes it feels like, well, gosh, there's so many other people out there. If I charge too much, they're not gonna give me the job. Well, you don't want to price yourself out of the job, but make sure you're charging enough. And for me, that's union scale. And I think most people would do well to pretend they have confidence in themselves that somebody is going to pay them scale. And that's what you say you're worth. Like with many other things, if they're buying in bulk, maybe you can give them a deal. When I was a voice for the Disney Channel, they weren't quite paying scale, but I was making a certain amount of money every month. When I was a voice of SoapNet, I was making a certain amount of money every month. I had a negotiated deal when I was one of the WB voices for a certain amount of money every month. And that's a fair way to go. Many of the cable stations now do the same thing. But don't sell yourself short. Look up what union scale is and base your prices right around there. If you have to go a little bit below, okay, but don't go too much below. And one of the things you want to think about too is charging enough money that you can put some away for your retirement and health care. If you're in the union, that's being taken care of for you. Chris, if I didn't answer that well enough, leave another note. All right, Saturday May. Gee, good day, Dave. Same question as Chris, but from the relaunch of your career point of view. Many thanks. Okay. From a relaunch of your career point of view, well, let me talk about that. You're going to have to relaunch your career numerous times if you're going to do this as your main career for a lifetime. There are some people who may look like they haven't had to relaunch their careers, but there are ups and downs. It's never just going up and up and up and up and up. You're going to go up and then down and then up and then down and up and then down and then up and maybe not. That's not the pattern. Maybe you go up and you go way down before you go back up. This is a volatile business, and you have to stay tough and strong to do this. What else have we got here? Going to a party tonight. The VO Collective is having their party. A little later on, I'll stop by and say hi. Hey, Krista, how are you? Andra Taylor, how are you? Christine, how are you? Love that you're here. Got any questions? Anything you want to add to the discussion? Let's see if I missed something up here. Carmen Cruz Hart, hi Dave, met you at Sova's 2018. You were awesome. Oh, that's so kind of you to say. Well, let's talk about expectation. You know what? No, we're not going to talk about expectation. Let's talk about auditioning. I've mentioned this before. I have a thing I call the 3 and 3, which is to read the copy in your head 3 times. So you're getting it in there and you're beginning to understand and you're adjusting and seeing, oh, this means this and this is what this is and this is important and da-da-da-da. And then after that, then read it 3 times, mouthing it. Little time consuming. And sometimes I've even been in the position where I couldn't do my 3 and 3 because I just had too much going on. And one of the things I found, if I just, okay, go ahead, read it through one time, to yourself, mouthing the words, and then record. And listen back, you may make some mistakes through it, and that's okay. Correct them as you go. Just get it all done, edit out all the mistakes, and then listen to it and see if you're actually saying what you thought you should be saying. There are times that you pick up a piece of copy and you read it and you think you know exactly what it's saying until you actually record it and listen back and realize, oh, they meant that. Don't feel bad about that. Sometimes you're going to miss that. And if you don't take that time, one way or the other, either reading through it enough times or recording it yourself and record it, even with the mistakes, take the mistakes out so you get something that's solid. You'll find out, oh, geez, am I doing it at enough time? If it's a 30, did you go 35? Or did you go 24? If it's 24, well, you better slow it down. If it's 35, you better speed it up. But sometimes I have found that when I do that, I get a better understanding of exactly what the message is. So be willing to just, okay, I'm going to burn this one. I'm not sending this one out. This one is just so I hear if I believe me and if I understand what the copy is saying. And you'll be better for it, I promise you. Let's see. Chris Michaels, you did. Thank you. Just wondering if someone comes to me and asks what I would charge for a certain project. I tell them my rate. Is it expected they will come back with, what? Why? This guy said he would do it cheaper. Why are you so expensive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If they do come back with all of that, not exactly sure how to respond. Well, have confidence in yourself. Be willing to say, well, I charge that much because I'm worth it. That person that's charging you so little doesn't have enough respect for what it is that they do to charge you what this is really worth. In the marketplace of voiceover, what I'm charging you is about what I should be charging you. And I probably, if you go to this other person that's charging you so little, you're going to want to come back to me. Don't make the mistake in this realm that a lot of us make in other realms. Have you ever, you're getting your first apartment and you bought the cheapo couch because you thought, when I make a little more money, I'll get a new couch. And then you had that couch for 15 years because that's what you had and you didn't want to spend any. Well, get the quality. Save up your money. Get something that you're actually going to like. Same thing. That's what you tell this guy. Listen, you hire me, you're going to get something that you really like. You're going to want to come back to me. You're actually going to save money in the long run because what I'm going to do for you in terms of delivering your message is deliver your message in a way that it achieves your goals. Another way to approach that is talk to that person about what it is they're trying to achieve. We never want to show up as asking for something, or we want to be a help. We want to be problem solvers for somebody. I need somebody to narrate this. I need somebody to do this commercial. We want to solve that problem of them finding somebody who can deliver the message the way they need that message delivered. And that's worth the money we pay. This is not an easy gig. People think it's easy. When you do it well, it sounds like it's easy, but it's not. How do you feel about improving on an audition? How do I feel about improving on an audition? I'm not sure I understand quite the syntax of that. If you want to improve an audition, there's a couple different ways we're talking about. That could be technical. Maybe it's not sounding right in terms of the quality of the sound. Well, then you just want to make sure your sound chain is right, your levels are right. If you're talking about improve a commercial, your read, the kind of thing you want to be able to do is know who it is that you're talking to. What is the perfect demographic for what it is, if it's a commercial, what you're selling. And talk to a person in that demographic. And talk to them as a person, not a disembodied voice that has words to say. You're going to be coming from a particular worldview. Talking to somebody who has a particular worldview, and that's what you want to connect to. More than saying it faster, louder, hitting this word or that word, coming from the honesty of that place. The other things are important too, but coming from the honesty of you as a human being talking to another human being, sharing some information as opposed to selling them, will make a big difference in your auditioning. I had a student today. He's fairly new, and he has a normal, nice voice. Not particularly high or low. A little bit of a twang. He's from Texas, and the biggest problem with him is he kind of has a concept of what he wants to do. Delivering that is difficult because he's so caught up in the reading. He's so caught up in focusing on the words. I see the words, they're going into my head, I'm translating them into how I want them to sound, and now they're coming out of my mouth. The more you do this, the more you read out loud, the more you understand copy, the easier that will be, the less you will spend in your head thinking about the mechanics of and the how does this sound and geez, am I doing this right? And the more you'll just surrender to saying the words that are on the page, the words that are only there to remind you of what you're saying, by the way, and sharing that message with whoever it is you're trying to share it with. Let's see. Have you done any voice work on any Christmas-related projects? A bunch, actually. A few things this year. Last year I was doing a bunch of stuff. I don't know why I don't remember the clients this year. Let's see. I was doing a BB-8 thing that was playing in England, and Build-A-Bear. I was the Build-A-Bear voice. That was fun. Christine, improv. Improv is a wonderful thing. And I'll tell you why I like improv, because it kind of gets the brain uncluttered. We have so much stuff going on when we're, trying to do this. There's a piece of copy in front of us. If we open up our mind to what other possibilities are, well, what if, and let our minds make other connections that we're seeing in the copy. We may add a word here, a phrase here, a little joke there that may book you the job. I guarantee if you entertain them, they will love it, especially on commercials, especially on cartoons. When I'm working with students, one of the things I try to do first is, let's be word perfect. Before we go off on tangents, let's be word perfect. Let's make sure that we can give them a take just the way they wrote it. Now that we've done that, let's have some fun with it, which is one of my least favorite directions. Oh, just have fun with it. I used to not understand what that meant, but it means stop working so hard. Stop being so concerned about, am I going to get this right? And just relax and say it. Mark Curry, my boy from back in the day. Comedian Mark Curry. We have been friends. We haven't been friends that have seen each other in a long time. When I was a disc jockey in San Francisco, working at KSOL as Billy David Ocean, 107.7 KSOL. Mark Curry was a comedian then. He was getting his career started. And he used to come on and play various characters for me on my radio show. And one was Granny Tougher Than Leather. And we had so much fun, and he was so good at that. And Granny was everywhere. All I had to do was say, okay, Mark, we're going to, this news happened, and Granny's going to be there. And so she was always everywhere. And just amazing. And Mark, I know you were doing KBLX for a while. I don't know what you're doing now. I hope you're back in the comedy game. Saw your tape the other day, and it's good to see you on here, man. It's good to see you. Melody, what's going on? Oh, swanky Christmas hat. Thanks, Santa hat. Ryan, I believe Christine is asking about improv during an audition. Yes, you can improv during an audition. I would make it specific to some commercials, especially if they're supposed to be funny, cartoons, maybe some places in video games, especially if it's a game that leans towards the funny. Improv will definitely work in those places, Christine, if Ryan is actually correct about what you're asking. Hello, Isabella. How are you? Tim, what's going on? Danny O'Leary. What else do I want to talk about here? Let's talk about some not voiceover things. Sometimes in this business, you're working so hard, your nose is to the grindstone so much. Auditioning, and finding out how to audition and getting auditions and taking classes and this, that you kind of lose track of what it is we're actually doing. We are being human beings talking to other human beings. And one of the best ways to do that is to sometimes step back and watch and listen, pay attention to what's going on in the world. If you're talking about improv, the things that are funny are the things that are going on that we notice and talk about from a particular perspective. When you think about the funniest comedians, they tend to be the comedians that are pointing out real life from their own worldview. And with improv, that's what we're doing. If you're in an improv group and you're on stage and somebody throws out a word, and now your mind is supposed to just start opening up to all the things that have come in, the movies, the TV shows, the song titles, the various people who are famous, the politicians, the things that are being said that we can draw upon to touch people in a way to make them smile. And when you're not paying attention to those things, it's like you don't have the food for thought to help you with the improv. And you have to stay current. Things that are, 50 years ago, well, some of us might know what they are, and a whole bunch of people aren't. So as much as you can, you got to stay current. Which brings me to another thing. I think of the number of people I came into this business with, or who were in this business when I came into this business. And we've had so many changes since 1990 when I arrived in Los Angeles. And I remember people saying, I'm not wearing a beeper. If they can call me on the phone. Those people aren't working anymore. I'm not getting a cell phone. They can wait till I get home. They're not working anymore. You've also got to lift up from working, and pay attention to the changes that are happening in this business and every other. Because the only constant is change. And I guarantee whatever we're doing now, 5 years from now, hell, next year, it's going to be different. Steve Bailey. Oh, thanks, man. I love the hat too. Hey, Lisa, how are you? And Isabella Tugman, hey, Dave, Merry Christmas, and congrats on your award. Oh, thank you, Isabella. Very kind of you to say. What else off the top of my head do I want to talk about? Oh, well, I'll tell you a joke. I heard this from the late, great Don LaFontaine. He said there are five places in your career. Five. He says there's, and I'll use my name. He used his. I'll use mine. Who is Dave Fennoy? Get me Dave Fennoy. Get me Dave Fennoy at any price. Get me a younger Dave Fennoy. Who is Dave Fennoy? I think I don't know if I'm not sure I ever hit the Get Me Dave Fennoy at any price. So maybe I still have that coming. Probably, definitely, there's a few Get Me a Younger Dave Fennoy. I just not looking forward to that day when they're saying, who's Dave Fennoy? Hey, Merry Christmas, Evan. Well, listen, if you guys don't have many more questions, I don't need to just ramble here. Let's see. Ryan, did you have issues with insecurity at the beginning of your career? So how did you work through them? I think I was pretty cocky. I'm not a cocky person in general, but I had a lot of belief in my talent. When I did radio, I took the Columbia School of Broadcasting course and knew I was ready to do morning drive in a major market right after that, which is absurd. But that's how I felt. And in fact, after a couple of jobs in radio, doing other day shifts in the San Francisco Bay Area, I was a morning guy. KSOL and KDIA. So your confidence can take you a long way. But yeah, sometimes I was a little nervous, but I always channeled those nerves away from sounding like I was nervous to putting more effort in. And once again, I had confidence in myself. There's no reason to do this if you don't have confidence. Does that mean you won't have doubts? No. Does that mean you'll feel like you're going to book everything? No. You're going to have some questions. You're going to have people in your life who have questions about the sanity of what you're doing until they see success. Play through it. There's fake it till you make it. Show up. My mother used to say, well, son, if you don't feel good, dress up. Dress up, put a suit on, look real nice, get cleaned up, and hit the streets that way. And that's part of that fake it till you make it. How you see yourself and how other people see you may be two different things. You know your shortcomings. You know the things you're afraid of. Not everybody else does, and you don't have to let on. As a matter of fact, you can start seeing yourself through their eyes, especially when they think you are somebody who has it. And take that on. Talk to yourself. I think of Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Nobody can beat me. You have to psych yourself up. I'm the baddest MF out there. No, you're not going to stop me. Whether that's the way you say it or not, have confidence in yourself. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself the things that are going to move you forward, not the things that are going to hold you back. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, gee. Oh, there's so much money. I don't sure I can make it. Oh, gosh, I got to drive to that studio. Oh, everybody. Yeah, you're going to make some mistakes. So what? Show up. Do it. Talk to yourself. And we're getting a little spiritual now. I think of people talk about praying. I'm praying for this. I'm praying for that. I grew up in a way that I don't pray for things other than my highest good, whatever that is, because sometimes we don't know. I also believe that I believe there's a higher power, not necessarily this human-looking something looking down on us, judging, but there is a power, a metaphysical power that we call on with our every thought, our every word, our every deed. So be careful what you think and what you say about yourself, because we are always communicating with this universe and with that universal power. You might call it, sometimes I think of it as the ultimate laws of metaphysics. If you say damaging things about yourself to yourself, you're going to do damage. And you can lift yourself by lifting your conversation with yourself about who you are and what you can do. So I encourage you, when you see people talk, well, this is my dream board. That's like prayer. That's like affirmations. I used to have affirmations, I still do, but I'm thinking about my first affirmation board on voiceover. It's like, I'm the voice of a major car company. I'm a voice on several commercials. I am narrating shows for National Geographic, Discovery Channel. All those things have come true. And you also don't know where your blessings are coming from. I know sometimes when I have been down, when things have, you've lost a gig that was paying you a lot of money, and you're looking for that next thing, and it doesn't seem to be arriving, and you're wondering, gee, is my phone working? It always comes. You stay in the game. It always comes. You may not know where it's coming from. You may not be able to conceive of where it's coming from, but it's coming. So keep your head up. Keep focused on doing the work and your ears open for those opportunities. And sometimes they don't show up looking like opportunities. Sometimes they show up looking like work. So, and I'll tell you a story. Being the Hulu guy for 8 years, didn't get it through an agent. Could not have imagined that gig, and it came at a time when the economy was crashing, and several of my clients had gone out of business, and I was kind of in a low. And I was at a party, and a guy sitting next to me said, "Oh, hey, what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a voice for a living, do voiceover." And he said, "Oh, yeah, it's this new thing, Hulu, and they're going to be showing your favorite TV shows on computer. Yeah, they're looking for a voice. Yeah, give me your email address. I'll send you an audition." The next week, I was a Hulu guy. Started very slow. But within a year or two, it was really good work. And when it went away 8 years later, I was really sorry to see it go. But there you have it. Sometimes you also don't. When I started doing video games, I just thought of them as other forms of cartoons. And I'm not a gamer. So, this is in the 90s. There weren't as many games then, and I had done this game and that game. But because I'm not a gamer, I didn't know that these were actually big games until somebody pulled my coat. They had made a demo for me. And wow, this is something. Well, I've become well known in the video game world. And part of that, I didn't even know I was doing it. Because I wasn't really paying attention, which, a thing with me that I need to do is pay more attention to all the various genres and what's going on with them, especially nowadays, video games, biggest entertainment business in the world. I have a part on Fortnite now, and that was a game. I know the game business well enough to know when that came out, I need to be on that game. And I was watching something the other day. I think Fortnite is making it has over 200 million players, and they are making billions of dollars every month. It's crazy. Okay. Thank you for sharing your heart and insight, Dave. I'm going to call it a night. Okay. Thank you, Krista. Good to see you. And I'm going to call it a night too, because they got a party to go to later on. But let me just say this. I know it's not Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, and but I want to say thank you. That one of my Christmas presents is you, and coming to hear me answer questions and pontificate on these Wednesday nights. I really enjoy it. I hope you do too. The purpose isn't for my enjoyment. The purpose is to share information. Hope you're getting that. But when you give something away, once again, kind of biblical, but it's beyond biblical. In every religion's ever been, that which you give, you will receive back tenfold. Which means when you're working with clients, give them a little more than they expect. Sometimes that's information. Sometimes it's information doesn't sound like it's giving, like when you're telling, hey, look, you have to pay me for usage as well as, but you're sharing information they need to know. You're opening their eyes to things. Be willing to, from time to time, somebody that's spending money with you, throw in that little something, that thing that, they needed help. You're there to help. You don't have to, not everything's about money. I mean, I like money, believe me, but not everything's about money. Be willing to do those projects with friends of yours who need another voice on something that, traded back professional courtesy as it is. Let's see. You were thank you, Ruth Atkins Robinson. Client of mine, friend of mine that I've worked with for years. Thank you, Ruth. Daniel and Dave, your weekly set here is really keeping my dream alive. Thank you for that. Well, good. And I'm going to say something. Now, this may sound like it's on the downside, A lot of you have been knocking on. Oh, by the way, a lot of people sent me cards and I love it. You may be knocking on doors for a while and it doesn't seem like you're going to make it. And maybe you won't. Maybe for whatever reason, it doesn't happen for you, not right place, not right time, that kind of thing. But you will know when it's time to step away. I was a musician for a long time, and I was pretty good, but I knew a lot of musicians were a lot better. And there came a point where I knew I needed to do something else. This hasn't panned out for me the way I'd like. I'd make some money sometimes it wasn't. Wasn't playing with the big bands. The band I had didn't go where I wanted to go. There came a time that I knew, okay, I need to move into something else. It was radio, and I became successful at that. There came a time that I wasn't not successful in radio. I was tired of radio, and I had discovered voiceover, and I decided, I'm going to do this. Life is long. Things change. There's some people who are listening who are going to do fabulously well in voiceover, and maybe some who are not, and are going to find something else to do. It has not been a waste of time. I don't think of the years I spent as a musician as a waste of time. It's part of what makes me me. It's part of, somehow it affects what I do voiceover-wise. I think I have a sense of rhythm with the things I do because I was a musician. So no matter what happens, you're on a good path here. Anyway, well, that's enough of that. Listen, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Kwanzaa. Merry Christmahana Kwanzaa. Keep being kind to each other, and I will not be here next Wednesday. That's the day after Christmas, but I will be here on the 2nd, on January 2nd. I'll be back. Hey, Janet, you're joining us just in time for me to say goodbye. Andrew, what's going on? So, Merry Christmas. I will see you next year. All the best.